I'm resident of Collinwood for YouTube, Joel Sains. I'm joined by my buddy Gordon Dymowski, my buddy Patrick McCray. We're here to discuss Batman Begins. Christian Bale takes on the role of Bruce Wayne slash Batman in this movie. We get Batman's origin story, so to here again. What did you so? What did you guys think of Christopher Nolan's Batman Begins origin story?
The origin story. What? How much are you considering the whole movie to be the origin story? Are you just considering the?
Well, I
Like, is
mean,
there a point when he graduates? Well, I mean,
well, when his parents get killed, which we know
Yeah,
that
yeah,
happened.
yeah. I mean, the hint is in the title, Patrick. It's Batman Begins.
well, yeah, I know that, but is when Jewel began? Was he talking about just like the training portions before he's officially in the suit out there, or is he looking at the whole movie as an origin story? Before I can answer the question
I'm gonna say the whole
accurately,
movie because the whole movie is.
what do I think of the whole movie? It's a great movie. It is one of the most logically worked out origins I've ever seen, especially with a retcon, which basically is, uh, because every odd quality of the Batman, and he's just a pile of odd qualities. Let's face it, comes from someplace logical. It's just almost like Slumdog Millionaire, in that they all end up being something that takes on the form of a bat in Gotham.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's good too because it's usually most Batman movies before and since usually do the highlight is the parents getting killed, and like Batman is a result of trauma, therefore that's why he dresses up in a bat and does stuff because he wants to inflict fear on criminals. I think this is one of the few that is not only logical from a plot standpoint, but from a psychological standpoint. Because Bruce Wayne, this is how we see Bruce Wayne not become the guy in the mask. It's how does he become the man who becomes confident enough to say, I can take this all on. And how can I do this in a way that doesn't, the sad thing is that the Nolan trilogy, kind of led to that kind of edgelord, that kind of extreme of, Batman is dark and gritty, and how it solidified in contemporary geek culture, especially afterwards, where it kind of took that sentiment and made it, you don't dare, Batman is at his extreme is like a loner who pushes people away and is playing three-dimensional chess. This movie kind of takes on a very interesting journey because I think, Patrick, you mentioned this in one of our previous conversations, at the end, I think it's the end of this movie where Wayne says, Gotham is worth saving.
Oh, he says it throughout the movie. He says it really at the end of the first act when Alfred comes to get him from Tibet or wherever he is. Gotham deserves better.
Yeah. Yeah, we have Michael Caine playing Alfred. What did you guys think of Michael Caine here as Alfred?
Gordon?
I thought it was good. I think it's, I think Caine was, and it's you need someone who can be that kind of sage, wise person with a little bit of an edge to him, and someone who can tell Bruce Wayne, especially Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne, like, yeah, you really need to think this stuff through, and to be that kind of reality check on him. That he cares about him, but you can see this Alfred raising Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. Patrick?
He's great. Michael Caine has basically been perfecting playing himself for a long time. Very rarely does the Cider House Rules come along and he gets to play a character with a different voice and a different cadence. He's basically it's it's not, Alfred played by Michael Caine. It's Michael Caine kind of on the screen going through the motions playing Alfred. What does Alfred need to be? He needs to be smart. He needs to be trustworthy. He needs to be capable, compassionate. Uh, and Michael Caine does that stuff in his sleep.
Mhm.
So, between him and Morgan Freeman, there could not have been a cold heart anywhere within like 30 miles of the theater showing this thing. So he's the best Michael Caine you're going to get. Now, was it a deep dive into the Pennyworthian mindset? No, but the script doesn't call for that either.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to see Michael Caine kick all sorts of ass, go watch the original Get Carter.
Sure.
Great movie.
Sure. And some of the cultural memory of that probably helps this.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It does. It's funny. When my brother was alive, he rented the Get Carter remake with Sylvester Stallone. I said, yeah, you really need to go see the original. He's like, there's an original. I said, yeah, there's an original. It's better. It was nice to see Michael Caine in a Batman movie playing Alfred. I really enjoy his Alfred out of most of them. He's very charming, sarcastic. He knows when to joke, but he also knows when to be serious. Again, was this a hard job for Michael Caine? No. I mean, you could.
No, I'm not criticizing him for that.
No, right. There's actually videos of Michael Caine teaching acting class.
Sure.
Which is really cool. Which I'm going to leave a link to in the description box if anybody wants to go check those out. And he does a really great job. He's a fantastic actor. I have only one complaint about this movie, and again, I get they cast Liam Neeson. I wish they would have kept the other guy's Ra's al Ghul.
Ken Watanabe?
Yeah.
Okay. Why?
Because I just feel it would have made more sense that he would have been Ra's al Ghul.
How do you know he's not? How do you know that this is not some kind of almost embedded notion swimming around in Bruce's brain?
I mean, Nolan's previous film was Memento, which plays with memory, but I also think, and I did a little reading on the film before we talked. Part of the reason it was done was that Neeson was always playing mentor types, and so they wanted to kind of mess with the plot and kind of put a twist on that. Yeah. I also think too, it's Ra's al Ghul. When he was designed by Denny O'Neil and Neil Adams, the character design was to make him as different, but without exotifying him. So they want to make him Asian, but not too Asian, Arabic, but not too Arabic. They wanted him to be mysterious, but you couldn't tell who he was. I think this film kind of plays with that expectation in terms of plot. And it also makes sense because if he's pretending to be one person training Bruce Wayne, and Bruce Wayne is seeing him as a mentor, that's an additional betrayal. And it also teaches Bruce about, like, hey, maybe being a little bit more skeptical and being a little bit more, being willing to investigate a little bit. So it's by placing Ken Watanabe, and for all we know, the way the League of Assassins is structured, maybe both Descartes and Ken Watanabe are Ra's al Ghul. Maybe it's a shared title, but I think it's for the plot. I think it was Nolan kind of going, okay, we're going to put somebody obvious over here because the audience is not going to expect twist over here.
And it was a great twist when it hit. It was super.
Well, let me ask this: do you think Nolan is more treating Ra's al Ghul sort of like Dread Pirate Roberts in a sense?
I think there's a hint of that. I don't think he's gone full on Phantom, but
right.
Is it possible? Sure.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I like Liam Neeson. I just want to see more Count Wanabe.
Well, go watch The Last Samurai.
Yeah, I mean, there's
He's
this
great
great
in that movie.
Yeah, you know what? There's this great service called Tubi. You just type in his name. I'm sure there's a couple of his films will pop up.
I've seen it. It's a good movie. We get who am I thinking of? Oh, the girl from Dawson's Creek is in this movie. She plays Rachel Dawes. What did you guys think of her in this movie?
I thought she was quite persuasive. I think she's
Mhm.
I think she's fine on the part.
Katie Holmes. Sorry, blanked on her name there.
Yeah.
Patrick.
I thought.
Gordon?
Well, it's interesting because I think she does a good job. I mean, it's interesting watching her here because in the same year, and I just saw this movie over the weekend. She was in a film called Thank You for Smoking.
Oh,
she
that's
plays-
a great movie.
Yeah, and she plays a reporter who basically sleeps with the lead character, who is a tobacco lobbyist, and then later kind of rats him out. So, and she plays the reporter as kind of like knowing and a little bit sleazy. And I think she might have even been, if not married to, dating Tom Cruise at the time. So
Yeah, I think she didn't she marry him?
if she did. I'm just not sure at what point they were. I mean, Scientology works in mysterious ways. All
Yeah.
hail Xenu.
I was about to say, it's how far off the launch pad you are, how far across the bridge or whatever it is.
So here's a little interesting, fun part about this movie. The guy that played Scarecrow in this movie was also who also auditioned for Batman. He auditioned for Bruce Wayne.
He is a fine. He would have been fine in either part.
Mm-hmm.
And he's Oppenheimer now.
Yeah.
So he's hit the big time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see where somebody took Oppenheimer and like changed the ending to it?
No, what did they do?
They
like Donald Trump.
Well, no, that scene where he's talking to Albert Einstein and he says about, how we said we'd set off a chain reaction, and when they show like the atomic bomb exploding, after the effect you hear the Godzilla roar.
That's just science, Jewel.
Yeah.
That's just good science.
Yeah, because the other ending you could do is that they talk about the atomic bomb, and then that you show the final shot from Dr. Strangelove with Strother Martin going down, writing the bomb and hearing, "We'll meet again."
It's Slim Pickens.
Oh, you're right. It is Slim Pickens.
Yeah, Slim Pickens.
I always get those two mixed up.
That's okay.
Now that's a funny movie.
Which one?
The Dr. Strangelove.
Oh yeah, Dr. Strangelove's a very funny movie.
Because I'm wondering, Oppenheimer, I haven't seen it, but I don't think it's a funny movie. Like maybe there are like fart jokes throughout or something. I don't know.
That's not one of the many explosions in the film.
So we do actually get the mob characters in this movie. We also get them in the next movie too. What did you guys think of that? We don't, in the previous Batman movies, we do get mob characters, but not a heavy mention of them. In the Nolan trilogy, in the first two movies, we do get the mob presence. What did you guys think?
I think they're well represented. I think they should be proud to have their criminal brethren on screen. They're respectable gentlemen all. Batman's always a little closer to the ground than some of the others. And so, given that, him dealing with mob characters, that's part of Batman. I mean, we were talking about Mask of Phantasm just last night, and that's a mob movie.
Yeah, and two, there's been with the comics, there had been this push to kind of bring Batman a little bit closer to Earth, because you've got if you're dealing, since Nolan's taken a much more realistic, logical approach to this, you're not going to have him fight a guy who falls into a vat of acid wearing a red hood and then come out with a chalk white face. You're going to try to keep it as real as possible. You also want to make Gotham, and I think a lot of writers have been doing that for the past 20, 30 years, giving Gotham a sense of place and what is this city like versus kind of its generic East Coast city. And the way you do that is you create, what does crime look like? Like Batman needs to fight something. You can't just have him, although colorful villains are great, in this universe, you need something a little bit more. And I think first, kudos to the late Tom Wilkinson, who does a great job as Falcone.
Yep.
But secondly, you need something where if Gotham is worth saving, what's it worth saving from?
Yeah.
And that's why you have the criminal element in here. I mean, in previous Batman films, usually it was bad writing or the director's whim. It was, you could in the first film it was okay, that bad screenwriting trick of, oh, okay, we're going to parallel the good guy and the bad guy.
We're two sides of the same coin, don't you see?
Right. The second movie is okay. One is the same thing but romantic. The other is freaky fascination of the directors. The third movie is okay. Does Batman integrate both sides and tons of mugging? And then the fourth movie is just, I think it's just kind of was just kind of like, okay, we're just going to do something pure fun. No big themes, no, maybe a subplot with one of the, and it would be interesting that if you could argue, if Keaton had done all four films, there's a kind of arc for Batman, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about Dark Knight. We're talking about Batman Begins, and I think you need that kind of groundedness. You need something that says, this is what Batman is standing against.
Yeah, I do like the fact that it's not just, his parents' death does affect him. But like you guys pointed out too, that he doesn't want this to happen to anybody else or anyone else go through this. And to him, hey, I can save Gotham. I can make Gotham a better place. And that's what I want to do. And I think that sort of heavy consequence, to have that burden put on your shoulders, it does make you sympathize with Christian Bale's Batman / Bruce Wayne.
Wise words.
Really easily. I really enjoyed Scarecrow in here. Tom Wilkinson you're right, he's fun to watch in this movie. I like one of my favorite scenes is when Scarecrow comes in there. He goes, what are you going to keep me from ratting on you? He goes, see, I know everything about you. I don't go into business with people without finding out, what they did. It's really good. So what's you guys' favorite scene in this movie?
It's probably Scarecrow's hallucinations.
Yeah.
Towards the end, visually, are just they're great. I think just the constant note of optimism that plays throughout the movie, and I think the further these films get from that, the less I'm interested in them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say that the scenes between Bale and Morgan Freeman are kind of fun because it kind of gets expanded, and it's like Lucius knows something's up, but he's not saying it.
Yeah.
So he's crazy, like a fox, but he's no Jack Warden. But with Scarecrow, where's Mrs. King?
Folks, Google all that. We're not going to explain it to you. Just like I'm not going to explain the nature of the home movies that Joel showed me before recording.
Yeah, I was late to that one.
Yeah. We won't talk about those on here. No.
Yeah, let's just say the words Bob Crane came up a lot.
I know nothing. I know nothing.
What did You know, I really like the way Wayne Manor actually looked in this movie too. It didn't look like the same thing Tim Burton had produced. It really Nolan made his film look completely different than any other thing that had been done prior.
It looked like it was happening in real life,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
on a bunch of sets.
Yeah. Nolan has a real good eye and a real good like almost a appreciation for like cityscapes and interiors that are natural. That it's like with Burton, everything was super stylized. Like even when you look at the animated series, everything is Art Deco, but everything is simple. It's there's and here in this film, it you feel like Gotham is a real place.
Yeah.
It helps that parts of this film and The Dark Knight were filmed in Chicago, where you can get some of that real kind of city feeling.
The Dark Knight Rises, some of that was filmed in Pittsburgh too.
Makes all the difference.
Because Hines Ward, the Steelers made a cameo appearance before half of them got disintegrated.
Which many would argue is worthy of the Steelers being disintegrated.
Other than Hines Ward made it out of there somehow. That is just insane. So, who's you guys' favorite villain in this movie? Is it Ra's al Ghul? Is it Scarecrow?
Katie Holmes.
Not the character of Rachel Dawes, but Katie Holmes.
Yes. She's a real villain.
Who is my favorite villain in the movie? Ra's al Ghul, I suppose, yeah. Although Scarecrow is terrific as well. For a long time, I didn't, it's sort of to paraphrase an Einstein quote, I didn't know what form Batman Triumphant would take.
Yeah.
But I knew the form of the villains of the film to go after it. And that would be Rush Limbaugh and the Howard Stern as King Tut and Scarecrow. That would be the bottom of the barrel that they would be scraping. And had it gone in a certain direction, it would have gone that way.
Actually, I think they would have gone through the bottom of the barrel and started digging down, and they would have had. I think they would have hit rather than Howard Stern. They would have had Morton Downey Jr.
No, but Morton's career was done by this point. I was really serious about imagining what this would be. If I had Photoshop, my God.
I think this is the one Batman that I didn't hear too many complaints about who they had cast for Bruce Wayne.
No.
Which was great. When you go into a Batman movie and people aren't bitching about who got cast, it's nice.
It is.
Christian Bale did a great job. I mean, I love how he altered his voice. It's just a fun movie from start to finish.
And he launched a lifetime's worth of bad YouTube parody videos with people going, "Oh, I'm Batman. I'm going to talk like this. I'm Batman." I don't smoke enough, so I can't really get that deep throatiness. But
I know the one you're talking. It's the Joker trying to give him elocution lessons.
Yes.
Do you speak Bat? Is that Bat? Is that what Bat sounds like? That's a very funny movie.
The best one I heard was, "Tell me about bears and rabbits." That's what.
and you will learn. Joel, my beta capsule is running low on this device I've been using to communicate with you on.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Is that the one where you hold up and you squeeze it and you turn into Ultraman?
It's the beta Hayata and the beta capsule.
You were.
Yeah, I was more of a Space Giants guy myself.
It's whatever we had access to. We didn't have choice over these things.
I even wrote an essay about Space Giants.
The problem with like batteries or anything that you charge these days, it's like no sooner do you feel like you charged it up, it's like you take it off charge. It's like you use it a couple times. The next thing you're like, oh, it's all the way down.
Mm-hmm.
What you got there, Gordon?
It's a collection of essays about tokusatsu series of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So think Power Rangers and everything previous.
Yes.
And I have an essay called "Family Bonding Through Kaiju Fighting."
Cool.
Which one did TBS broadcast in the late 70s, early 80s? I know it had apes and robots. Does that
I
sound
know.
familiar?
Well, there's a bunch of them. There's Spectre Man, where the guy had a ape face. There's
Might have been Spectre Man.
yeah.
Did he have
There's Spectre
relatives?
Man, Battle of the Planets,
No, the one cartoon.
Ultraman, Space Giants. There's one called, I think it's like the Phantom. Hold right
I
here.
think it's Spectre Man. No, it's not Spectre Man. Spectre Man was Hong Kong. Well, there's a lot of them.
There was this weird cartoon where there were these robots hitting like explosive golf balls. I forget what it was called.
Oh, the Phantom. No, well, the one I'm thinking of was the Phantom Agents, which is this 1950s. It's a live action where they've got. It's about these like cop type deals where they've got like swords and guns, and they're like fighting all sorts of weird science fiction things, and you'll get you'll have like someone about to shoot somebody, and someone else says, "Oh no, we don't kill," and then pulls out their sword. Like swords kill too, but I've been meaning to check it out, but no, it's okay. Well, Patrick's gone. Why don't I? We're gonna do an impromptu reading.
Go ahead, man.
And by the way, everyone, if you're watching, when Patrick comes back, yeah, just make comments about how brilliant it is, and then that way, just really say like, hey, Patrick, you should have listened. So what do I go? Okay. just to Patrick's point, television didn't have numbered buttons. It had two dials, UHF and VHF. If you wanted your typical bland network fare with a smattering of local programming and PBS, that top dial was your best friend. If you were lucky enough to get the day off from school, your viewing consisted of Ray Rayner showing old cartoons and getting into various jumpsuit-clad shenanigans with Cuddly Dudley, Chelveston the Duck, or Dr. Lester Fisher in the morning. Then after a 3-hour break, you watched Bozo Circus at noon. Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on Channel 9 brought Star Trek, followed by The Lone Ranger and The Cisco Kid. Each clack of that dial was, for me, like the turn of a roulette wheel. Perhaps I might get something entertaining or get the news. Or during the summer, if I went down to the first floor of my grandparents' 2-story house, I would turn on the black and white television, let it warm up, and then catch the 1 p.m. rerun of the Dick Van Dyke Show. But the lower dial was where you found the good stuff. The UHF dial was much smoother, with no clicking, but there's an art to finely tuning it to get a halfway decent picture. After all, you would get primarily visual static on any other channels, but UHF meant I could enjoy after-school hours with the Monkees, Batman, and Battle of the Planets on Channel 32. Saturday afternoons were reserved for Svengoolie on the same channel. But the cool stuff was on Channel 44, an independent station best known for television, Chicago Bulls basketball. So that explains what Patrick's comments is what I'm trying to say.
Exactly. That's brilliant.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, well, I actually stole it from one of your daybook writings. So
you did?
Yeah, I just cut and pasted it.
No way.
No, I didn't. But if you wanted to make that claim, I'm more than happy to agree.
All right.
Scale of 1 to 10. What do you guys give this movie?
This is a 9.
Yeah, it's a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9.
It did really rewrite a lot of Hollywood history, because it was after this that the Bond producers decided they were going to make him younger and throw out a lot of continuity. And I think that this trend really started with this movie. Because I remember when I heard the concept of the movie, the last thing I wanted was this, Starfleet Academy type, debacle. You know, really the only pre-boot type movie that had come out that I remember like this really was Young Sherlock Holmes. No.
Mhm. Mhm. See, like I remember when I was growing up, they did the James. It was like a James Bond cartoon about James Bond's nephew.
Yeah, James Bond
Yeah,
Jr., which
Yeah.
was don't.
that's not Fleming. That's
Mm.
I wouldn't spend a lot of time on
Yeah,
that.
that was somebody saying, okay, ooh, we need mortgage. What do we do with these license?
Yeah.
Ironically, the Ian Fleming novels are public domain in Canada.
Wow.
They're not public domain here because their rule is life plus 50 years.
So what does that mean someone can do in Canada?
They could reprint the novels.
Uh-huh.
I think they might be able to, because I don't know what the I think they might be able to publish some derivative works, because you can find on Amazon, you can find like the official American publication of some Bond novels and some that are out of Canada. Because like Raymond Chandler is also public domain in Canada, and you can
Wild.
find what?
Wild.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to add about Batman Begins before we go?
My battery's about dead.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good
Good night,
night, all.
Patrick. Yeah, links to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Links to Patrick Dark Shadows book about is going to be in the description box. Guys, have a good night, and I'll see you tomorrow night.
Good night, guys.
Bye.